Welcome to this deep dive. Handing a tablet or a smartphone to a 5-year-old is basically like opening a fire hydrant of mindless noise.
Oh, it completely is. It's just totally overwhelming.
Right. The algorithm just blasts them with constant high-speed stimulation, and you are usually just standing there hoping they don't get completely swept away by the sheer force of it all.
Yeah, it's a massive challenge.
But today is Saturday, July 4th, 2026, which is America's 250th birthday.
Right, the big one.
Yep, officially known by the absolute tongue twister of a name, the semi-quincentennial.
I still stumble over that word every single time I try to say it.
I mean, who doesn't? But the reason we're talking about this today is that a brand new YouTube channel called Little Compass Studios is launching with a completely different blueprint. They're actively trying to build, a water filter for that fire hydrant.
Which is fascinating.
Mm.
Because as a digital creator in this space, you're essentially trying to serve two entirely different audiences with the exact same piece of media.
Right, the parent and the kid.
Exactly. You have to entertain a child whose baseline for boredom is about 3 seconds.
If you're lucky.
Right. But simultaneously, you have to prove your value to the adult holding the device. And the sources we are looking at today really pull back the curtain on how a modern creator attempts that balancing act.
We've got a really fascinating stack of materials from Little Compass Studios today. We are looking at their launch strategy documents, an animated storybook script, a printable children's activity booklet they just released, and some behind-the-scenes YouTube feedback notes.
It's a goldmine of back-end strategy.
It really is. The core mission of this deep dive is to figure out how they are designing content that transforms passive screen time into interactive, teachable moments for 5 to 8-year-olds.
And critically, the business strategies they use to actually get this in front of parents.
Right. So let's get into it. To understand how they hook their audience, we have to look at their launch strategy today. They are using this massive historical milestone as a gateway into the family living room.
Yeah, it's a very clever entry point.
They dropped this free, downloadable Happy Birthday America activity booklet. And when you look through this PDF, it isn't just, generic fireworks to color in.
No, it's surprisingly detailed.
It is. It's packed with very specific fun facts. For instance, they highlight that Thomas Jefferson loved ice cream so much that he brought a French recipe for vanilla ice cream back to the U.S.
I didn't actually know that.
Right. And that physical recipe is currently kept in the Library of Congress. They also point out that John Hancock signed his name on the Declaration of Independence, so huge, specifically so King George III could read it without his glasses.
And, notice why they chose those specific facts out of all of American history.
Why do you think?
Well, a 5-year-old does not care about the geopolitical nuances of taxation without representation.
No, they'd zone out instantly.
Exactly. They simply don't have the developmental capacity to process that level of abstraction, but they do understand the concept of drawing something really, really big just so someone else can see it.
Well, that makes total sense.
And they absolutely understand the sensory experience of vanilla ice cream. So Little Compass is taking high-level history and translating it into physical sensory concepts that a kindergartner can actually grasp.
And then naturally want to run and repeat to their parents. Like, hey, Mom, did you know about the ice cream?
Precisely.
They do the same thing with the Liberty Bell. They mention that descendants of the signers tap it exactly 13 times every July 4th. But here's where it gets really interesting. The story they include about the current 50-star American flag.
Oh, this is my favorite part of the booklet.
It's such a great story. The current flag was actually designed in 1958 by a 17-year-old high school student named Robert G. Heft.
Ish, a teenager.
Yeah, he did it for a school history project, turned it in, and his teacher gave him a B-.
A B- for designing the literal American flag.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
It wasn't until President Dwight D. Eisenhower officially selected Robert's design that the teacher finally changed the grade to an A.
Which is just the ultimate vindication for any student. But again, look at the mechanics of why that story is in this booklet.
To make it relatable.
Yes, it brings a massive, intimidating concept like national history right down to the stakes of a classroom. A tough teacher, a homework assignment, an unfair grade. These are narratives a young child can immediately connect with.
Okay, I follow the logic there, but I'm struggling to see the long-term play here.
How so?
Are kids ages 5 to 8 actually going to care about a 250th anniversary beyond today? Or is this booklet entirely a marketing play just to win over the parents so they hit the subscribe button?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, The history is really just the packaging.
Like a Trojan horse.
Exactly. It's like hiding the medicine in a piece of cheese for your dog.
That's a great way to put it.
The kid comes for the cool story about the giant signature or the B- flag, but the actual product Little Compass is selling is at the very end of the booklet. The final page is this section titled Family Fun and Gratitude.
Ah, the fill-in-the-blank exercise.
Yes. It explicitly asks parents and children to sit down together, write down what they are grateful for in their own lives, and write their wishes for America's next 250 years.
So the historical trivia was just the icebreaker.
Exactly. It's a highly calculated move to establish the brand right out of the gate as a tool for creating a culture of communication in the home.
Basically saying, we aren't just giving your kid a distraction, we are giving you a structured bonding activity.
Spot on.
But that brings up a really big question. If the history booklet is just the packaging to get parents talking, what happens when they actually turn on the screen? How do you teach an abstract concept like emotional intelligence or thoughtfulness to a kindergartner through an animated video?
And that brings us to the script provided in our sources for an episode called Leo and the Great Reef Rescue.
Yeah, I read this.
It's honestly a masterclass in breaking down complex social dynamics into a visual medium.
The plot of this got me genuinely invested. So Leo is this young kid, and it's science fair week.
The stakes are high.
Always. He has this wildly ambitious plan to build a massive great white shark out of cardboard and silver paint. He wants a gaping mouth full of jagged, terrifying teeth.
Sounds pretty awesome for a kid.
Right. But then his best friend, Hero, comes over with a box of bright, bumpy sponges. Hero suggests they team up for a diorama of the deep.
A joint project.
Exactly. Hero will build the coral reef out of sponges, but he needs Leo to build the wooden base for it because Leo has the heavy-duty tools at his house. And Leo agrees immediately.
He has the best of intentions in that moment.
He really does. But then Leo goes home. And the script describes the silver paint not just calling his name, but singing to him.
Oh, he gets totally distracted.
He gets complete tunnel vision. He spends the entire afternoon becoming the king of the cardboard ocean. He cuts out 50 pointy teeth, glues them into this magnificent mouth, and steps back feeling like an absolute champion.
And completely forgets about the wooden base.
Completely forgets. He forgets about Hero entirely.
It's the classic trap, right?
Yeah.
Individual achievement overshadowing collective responsibility.
Exactly. And then we hit the emotional climax of the script. There is a soft tap at the door. It's Hero holding his box of wet sponges.
Oh, no.
He asks if the base is ready because his sponges cannot stand up without the wooden frame. Hero looks at the giant silver shark and realizes Leo completely forgot about him.
That's heartbreaking.
It is. The script describes Hero's shoulders slumping like a wilted flower. He doesn't yell, he doesn't throw a tantrum, he just turns away, the box looking heavier with every single step.
And it's such a deliberate writing choice. A tantrum would give Leo something to react against.
Right, he could just get defensive.
Exactly. The quiet disappointment is so much more devastating. It forces self-reflection.
And it works. Standing next to his perfect cardboard shark, Leo realizes he was an all-teeth and no-heart teammate.
All teeth and no heart. I love that phrasing.
It's so good. He realizes a masterpiece doesn't mean anything if you let your friend down. So he grabs a saw, and he literally cuts up the sturdy wooden bottom of his own perfect shark project to give the wood to Hero. Yeah, to make things right. They go to the fair with a slightly shorter shark, but a beautiful reef, and a successful joint project.
It's a great resolution.
And you know, if you are listening to this and you've ever tried to manage a group project, whether you're 5 or 50, you know the exact trap Leo falls into here.
Oh, absolutely.
Leo's small courage in sacrificing his own perfect project to fix a mistake he made is basically the workplace equivalent of owning up to dropping the ball on a team presentation.
That is a perfect analogy.
Right. It's like stepping up and saying, hey, I messed up my part of the slide deck. Let me stay late and fix it.
Right.
Instead of just presenting your own flawless slides while the rest of the team fails.
And the channel's strategy documents show how systematic they are about this kind of storytelling. They have a pedagogical framework explicitly contrasting what they call big courage with small courage.
The feature episode outlines break this down really clearly.
They do. They plan to feature hero profiles to teach big courage. That means highlighting figures like Rosa Parks having the courage to stand up for what is right, or Neil Armstrong and Amelia Earhart having the courage to explore the unknown.
Massive historical figures.
Right. But the internal notes emphasize that a 5-year-old's cognitive development requires immediate, concrete application. You cannot just teach them about going to the moon and expect them to translate that into empathy on the playground.
Because the scale is just entirely incomprehensible to them.
Precisely. So they transition from those massive historical examples directly back to characters like Leo.
Which brings it down to their level.
Yeah, Leo feels that butterfly in his tummy when he has to admit he was wrong. The script dictates that small courage, like being the first person to say, "I'm sorry," or sacrificing your cardboard shark, is framed as being just as heroic as the big courage of history's greatest explorers.
It is a brilliant way of addressing how we break down massive abstract virtues into actionable daily habits.
It really is.
Okay, let's unpack this. We have explored the content design. We see how the historical trivia acts as an icebreaker, and we see how Leo's cardboard shark teaches small courage.
Right.
But Leo's story brings up a glaring issue. You can write a beautiful, psychologically sound script about emotional intelligence. But if a parent's YouTube app is just aggressively recommending endless, flashing, high-speed gaming videos, how does Leo actually reach the kid?
That is the million-dollar question.
Because the digital landscape in 2026 is ruthless. If the algorithm doesn't index you properly, you simply do not exist.
And this is where the YouTube feedback and strategy notes transition from content creation into an absolute masterclass on algorithmic positioning.
The back-end tactics are really aggressive in a smart way. For one, the channel enforces a structural rule across the board, a 30-second parent wrap-up at the end of every single video.
That's a huge risk for audience retention.
It is. When the story finishes, the video does not just autoplay to the next cartoon. A host comes on screen with a direct call to action, asking parents to discuss the lesson with their little compass.
They were actively trying to break the endless scroll. They are telling the parent to literally turn the screen off and talk.
And to support that off-screen time, they are building a massive physical product roadmap. The strategy notes detail interactive printables they call the Little Compass Map, where kids can track their courageous acts for the week.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, and they are developing emotion flashcards, responsibility charts, and even physical tools for a calm-down corner, like sensory jars and breathing boards.
Which is brilliant, because physical products anchor the digital brand in the physical living room.
Right.
It means Little Compass is present in the house, even when the tablet is locked away.
Wait, I am genuinely confused by one specific choice in their back-end strategy document, though.
What's that?
The feedback notes strongly insist that Little Compass Studios must select education as their official YouTube category and explicitly avoid the film and animation category. But they are making beautifully animated narrative storybooks. Doesn't labeling a cartoon as education just tell the algorithm, like, hey, this is boring homework? Why would you voluntarily box yourself into a category that sounds so dry to a mass audience?
This raises an important question about how search intent actually dictates platform algorithms. Choosing education over film and animation is not about making the content boring.
What is it about them?
It's about manipulating the metadata ecosystem your video lives in.
How does that change the ecosystem?
Well, if you label a video, film, and animation, you are throwing it into the most cutthroat entertainment rat race on the internet.
Against all the high stimulation stuff.
Exactly. The algorithm judges your video against the addictive, fast-paced retention graphs of unboxing videos and flashy cartoons. If a kid looks away for 5 seconds, the algorithm thinks your video is failing and buries it.
Because the only metric in that category is pure dopamine retention.
You nailed it. But by categorizing it as education, you are opting out of that race entirely.
Oh, wow.
You are telling the algorithm to index your video alongside how-to guides, tutorials, and curriculum supplements. You target a specific audience actively searching for solutions rather than mindless entertainment.
That is fascinating.
And the strategy documents identify 3 highly specific search intents. Homeschooling creators looking for moral-based curriculum, children's librarians who curate playlists for parents, and gentle parenting coaches who focus on teaching kids the why behind good behavior.
So they are essentially positioning themselves as a B2B, like a business-to-business resource partner, but for other digital creators.
It is an incredibly sophisticated network effect. Just look at the draft outreach message included in the notes.
The one for homeschooling parents.
Yes, it's designed to be sent directly to established creators. It reads, I made this video on Rosa Parks specifically for homeschooling parents to use as a conversation starter. Feel free to share it with your community if it's helpful.
There's no demand for a shout-out.
None. They are offering free, high-quality resources like the matching printable activity sheets just to provide value to someone else's audience.
And they're utilizing YouTube's collaborator tool to cement those relationships, right?
That is the linchpin of the whole strategy.
Hmm.
The document outlines creating shared playlists titled things like Stories of Courage. Little Compass invites established parenting creators to add their own videos to this shared playlist.
So they're building a network.
Exactly. By doing this, Little Compass is building a curated digital neighborhood. They're telling the algorithm, my brand new content belongs right next to this established, highly trusted parenting coach.
That's genius.
It is a phenomenal way to bootstrap credibility when you are starting from zero. You basically draft in the wake of larger creators who already possess the trust of the parents you want to reach.
Yeah, and so what does this all mean? We have taken quite the journey through this stack of sources today.
We really have.
We started with the 250th anniversary of the United States and examined how a clever creator uses physical sensory history to break the ice with parents.
The Trojan horse.
Exactly. Then we waded through the emotional trenches of a cardboard science fair shark to understand the psychology of translating big courage into actionable small courage.
All teeth and no heart.
Still love that line. And finally, we ended up in the weeds of algorithmic maneuvering, seeing how changing a single metadata category from animation to education can completely redefine a channel's digital neighborhood.
I think for you listening, whether you are a parent trying to manage the chaos of screen time, an educator looking for better resources, or really just someone fascinated by how media manipulates our attention,
Yeah.
the core takeaway is the sheer power of intentionality.
Intentionality is the perfect word for it.
The shift from passive, mindless consumption to an active, teachable moment does not happen by accident. It requires deliberate structural design.
From the script to the metadata.
Exactly.
Mhm.
From the way Hero's wilted shoulders are written in the script, all the way to the specific B2B outreach messaging, every single step is engineered to cut through the noise of that fire hydrant.
It is a massive undertaking. And, it leaves me with this one final provocative thought.
To hear it.
We've spent this entire deep dive looking at how creators meticulously design content to teach 5-year-olds small courage and empathy. We see the value of the little compass maps, the emotion flashcards, and the intentional pauses for reflection.
Right.
But looking at our own screens as adults, what would an adult version of that ecosystem actually look like?
Oh, that's a tough question.
If our own daily media consumption, our doom scrolling, our news apps, our social media feeds, if they had a mandatory 30-second wrap-up at the end designed to make us better friends, more empathetic colleagues, or more thoughtful citizens, would we actually stick around to watch it?
Or would we just skip it?
Exactly. Or have we become